up on very thin volume, which means that not many people are participating. But meanwhile, what the experts, the pros, are buying put options. Now, a put option is a way to bet that the market's going down. So let's say I have a lot of stock and it's been going up and I've been making a lot of money. Well, I might want to get out, but if I start selling the stock, I might be the snowflake that causes the avalanche, and I don't want that to happen. So what they do is they go over here to a different market. They buy put options, which is a bet the market's going to go down. Now, remember the Chinese, they got the paper, but they also have the gold.
Yeah.
The pros have the stocks, but they also have they're hedging. So when the market crashes, the little guy's going to get wiped out on his 401k, but the big guys, yeah, they'll lose money on their stocks, but they're going to make money on their puts and lock in their profits. This is the kind of thing that's going on behind the scenes. You have to be a bit of an expert and a bit of a technician to see it, but it is visible. All this is publicly available.
And it's accelerating, correct? They're not just hedging now. From what I've seen, they're piling on to getting out of all the pop assets on the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones, and they're moving into the most hardcore of stable assets.
Right. Well, they want to. Well, some of them are doing that. Warren Buffett's a good example. But for people who want to hedge themselves without, because remember, if you start selling the stock, you might be the guy who causes the avalanche. What they're doing is keeping the stock to some extent, but buying these put options. So now they're hedged. The market could go down. They don't care because whatever they lose in the stocks, they'll make in the puts. But the little guy is not a.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
Well, one of the hard things is some of these things can go on longer than you expect. It won't go on forever. I don't think it'll go on much longer. I don't think we'll get 2 or 3 years down the road. We might not get 1 year down the road. I don't want to say it's going to happen tomorrow because look, the thing about bubbles is they go on longer than we expect. But I wouldn't be waiting for the day. See, a lot of people, I talk about this all over the world, Alex, and people invariably come to me and they say something to the effect of, hey, Jim, call me at 3 o'clock the day before it crashes. I'll sell my stocks and buy gold. And I say, it doesn't work that way. I'm not going to know the day before. I can see it coming for sure, but I'm not going to know the day before. The time to prepare is now. The time to get out of stocks, get some gold. Don't go overboard. I recommend 10% gold. Other kinds of hard assets, sure. Fine art, etc. The time to do that is now. By the way, for the small investor, when you want gold, when gold starts gapping up, when I say gapping up, $100 an ounce, boom. Next day, up $200 an ounce, boom. Next day, up $300 an ounce. A week goes by, it's up $1,000 an ounce. It's running away. That's when most people are going to say, oh, gee, I better get some gold. Guess what? You're not going to be able to find it. The mint will stop shipping. Your local dealer will be out. The big
you want to get it beforehand.
Sovereign wealth funds. Correct. That's exactly right.
Well, look at the Chinese government, the University of Texas. They've all been quietly hoarding it while they use all these naked shorts and things to drive down the overall price of gold. But as real inflation kicks in all commodities, I don't think they can suppress the price of gold much longer. I would imagine it's going to go up in the fall. What do you say?
It usually does go up in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is usually strong for gold. I think the technical setup is good. I was in Switzerland recently, and on this last trip, instead of visiting the banks, which I usually do, I went to see the guys who actually store gold, the top secure logistics firms in the world, and the guys who actually refine gold. So people handling the physical stuff. They told me stories that'll make your hair stand on down. I talked to the largest refiner in Switzerland. He said he's working triple shifts, so 24 hours a day. He's producing 20 tons of gold a week. The Chinese are taking half, so there's 10 tons of gold a week going to China times 50 weeks. That's 500 tons a year. Remember, I mentioned earlier, there's not that much official gold in the world. So he said the Chinese want more, but he said I won't sell it to them because I have to take care of my regular customers. And he said for the first time, I'm having trouble sourcing gold, meaning, when you're a refiner, you take gold from, scrap and jewelry and miners and other 400-ounce bars, and you re-refine it into what the Chinese want, which are 1 kilo bars of 4.9 purity. He said, I'm having trouble sourcing it. I said, well, when was the last time that happened? He said, this never happened. So the technical setup is very strong. Gold is just, the reason gold had a weak year in 2013 was because the Exchange Traded Fund, GLD, that's the ticker symbol, disgorged 500 tons. That was a raid on the GLD warehouse by the big banks who control that warehouse because they were sending that gold to China. Well, you can't do that twice. I mean, you can do it once because they had, I guess, about 1,100 tons at the beginning of the year. So take away 500 tons. Now you're down to 600 tons.
So now is the time, in your view, to buy gold, but people never do. They only buy once it's racing up. It's of course, I buy when it's low. I bought most of my gold at about $300 to $500 and haven't sold any of it. We're going to come back and go to break, sir, and I want to segue into really the bombshell information that you let out a little bit on Max Kaiser's show on RT a few months ago. I know it was in Der Spiegel and some of the German newspapers at the time, but you were a witness according to Max, to this, to some of the insider trading prior to 9/11. So I want to go to break and come back in the next two little short segments and really, have you break that down and what that signifies, because, you're saying you don't know the day before something's going to happen, but other people did. And I remember also in the papers, it wasn't just that. There were, FBI agents and Secret Service people, and there were little kids that said those towers won't be there next week. And then that all got shut down. So there was a lot of people that knew, a lot of people that across the board who didn't go to work that day. And those are not conspiracy theories. The media has tried to turn it into those with red herring fake stories and things. But undoubtedly, that's a big deal. So our guest, James Rickards, has a lot of courage, best-selling author of Currency Wars. He's going to come back and talk about that. The Death of Money, the Coming Collapse of the International Monetary System is his new book. And I've not read it yet. It just came in last week, and I've had family in town and stuff, and then been out of town. But I'm going to read it immediately. But hearing him talk, it's some of the most cogent, focused analysis I've ever heard. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This hour brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Clean water at home, clean water at the office, clean water on the go. The Berkey Guy has a Berkey water filtration model for anywhere you are and one that fits any budget. Thousands of satisfied customers can't be wrong. For free shipping within the U.S., go to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Helping thousands prepare since 2005, goberkey.com.
Get the most important package of information you'll ever receive in your life for only $10. The package includes 3 books and 7 DVD programs which cover biblical miracles and prophecy. The Shroud of Turin, The Third Secret of Fatima, What Really Happened to the Catholic Church, and more. Call 800-513-0029. That's 800-513-0029. Or go to VaticanCatholic.com. That's VaticanCatholic.com. 800-513-0029. VaticanCatholic.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
A sudden change in the wind. The day grows dark as ominous clouds move in and lightning begins to carve arcs in the sky. And you realize you are not prepared.
I am telling you to take cover.
The number of intense storms is increasing exponentially in the U.S. Tornadoes, hurricanes, flooding, and droughts are happening with greater magnitude and frequency. If you are choosing to rely on the government to save you,
And no one's coming to help them.
you could be dead wrong. The first step towards self-reliance in the face of disaster is a visit to MyPatriotSupply.com. There you'll find the absolute best prices on storable foods, non-GMO seeds, emergency water filtration devices, and so much more. All orders over $49 qualify for free shipping in the lower 48. Visit us online or call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927 and speak to one of our preparedness advisors today. Remember, before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com.
We will not be forgotten. We won't be left behind. Our memories live on in mortal mind.
I'm your host, Alex Jones. Third hour is coming up. Our guest will be with us a little bit into the third hour. Then I plan to get into other news and open the phones up. Here's a headline out of Voice of Russia. Beijing, Seoul, that's South Korea's capital, agree to direct trade in national currencies. That's a big deal. Those two have a massive amount of trade that then ends up here. I mean, the dollar is being cut off every day. And it is just very, very frightening because I talk to the average person out there and they say, I don't care if they shut down coal power plants. I don't care if they shut down somebody's business. I don't own it. I don't care if the dollar dies. Let it die. Alex, this system needs to come down. America's corrupt. I'm sick of it. Let it all come down. Well, yeah, it is corrupt, but it's not America. It's a multinational system, and it's going to hurt us, folks. It's going to hurt the average person. I don't care if the stock market goes down. I don't own any stock. It affects everybody you work for, where you go, the bonuses you get. It's ridiculous how self-centered the average American is. And I'm not saying everybody, but we were very morally upright people on average when we had the Great Depression, and it was rough. And I think what we're about to see could be even worse. What do you briefly say to that, James Rickards, best-selling author and top analyst, about what a depression would look like with this type of population?
Well, if you want to know what a depression looks like, look around, Alex. We're in a depression. This depression started in 2007, and it will continue indefinitely until we get some structural changes, which I don't see on the horizon. Now, a lot of people don't know what the meaning of a depression is. They assume it means continuous declining GDP, but that is not the definition. You can have growth in a depression. What it means is the growth is depressed relative to trend. So a trend, long-term trend of growth in the United States is, say, 3.5%. And by the way, in the short run, you can grow 4, 5, or even 6%, as we did during some of the years when Ronald Reagan was president, because you're bringing unemployed people back into the labor force at a faster rate. So trend is 3.5%. Short-term growth is 4 or 5%. But if you're actually growing at 1, 2%, which we are, that's a depression. It's the gap between the potential and the actual. And that represents lost wealth, and you never make it up. So, I mean, you have to be 90 years old today to have a living memory of the Great Depression. So essentially, basically no one knows what it feels like. Well, except we do. It feels like this. And I've had people say, well, gee, Jim, if we're in a depression, where are the soup lines? The soup lines are at Whole Foods, because you get your food stamps on a little debit card, and you can walk into Whole Foods and get some gourmet soup to go. So it's not that we don't have soup lines, but they're just in the supermarkets. They're not on the streets. But you look at labor force participation, you look at real wages, you look at unemployed, underemployed, people working part-time, which they have full-time jobs, actual growth. We're in a depression now. Now, could it get worse? Yes, it could get a lot worse, because you can put a financial panic or financial collapse on top of a depressed economy, and that's what I see coming.
Sure. I mean, if the welfare checks don't show up, or if they don't have the buying power, it's the same of them not showing up. Cities will burn. I mean, that's just a fact. And the Pentagon knows that. Do they think a bunch of armored vehicles are going to keep everybody safe?
Well, they're hoping it doesn't come to that, but they're certainly prepared for it. I mean, we see, not news really, the militarization of local police. As I say, these are not, your local police force are not people who get kittens out of trees. They've got flashbang grenades, high-tech battering rams, night vision goggles, tear gas, automatic weapons, body armor, armor personnel carriers, and they'll break down your door for, a simple, credit card fraud or something. So, and there was a case the other day where sadly they threw a grenade and blew the face off a 2-year-old child sleeping in a crib. So that's your local police force.
But if you're illegal and have an aggravated felony, you can come right on in. I mean, this is becoming bizarro world. Stay there. We've got a little 5-minute segment, sir, after a 1-minute break, where I want you to finish up on the collapse in your book and what you mean by the death of money. I haven't read the book yet. I read your last book years ago. And then I want to, in that next segment, you've agreed to stay with us till about 15 after or so. I want to get into the insider trading, because, folks, you're one of the only eyewitnesses to this. It was confirmed, but not the details. So the third hour is coming up. Folks, tell your friends and family to tune in. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. PrisonPlanet.com is the backup mirror. PrisonPlanet.com. Follow us on Twitter, Real Alex Jones. And we'll also give you our guest website when we come back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139.